Hola, te doy la bienvenida a Spring Spanish. Welcome to Spring Spanish. Yo soy Mariana. I'm Mariana, and I'm one of the teachers at Spring Spanish. Did you know that the English saying to kill two birds with one stone has an equivalent in Spanish? Así es, that's right. Pero en español cambia un poco, but it changes a little in Spanish. If translated literally, this saying would go, matar dos pájaros con una piedra. But Spanish speakers probably thought that was too hard, and so they say, matar dos pájaros de un tiro. Literally, to kill two birds with a single shot. El que nace pata mal, del cielo le caen las hojas. This saying is very Mexican because it talks about tamales, un platillo mexicano delicioso, a delicious Mexican dish that is usually eaten en las fiestas decembrinas during the Christmas holidays. If translated into English, it would say, those who have been born to be a tamal will get the leaves from the sky. I know, no tiene ningún sentido. It makes no sense. Lo primero que debes saber, the first thing you should know, is that tamales are a very important part of Mexican culture, and they are basically made of dough with different fillings and wrapped with banana or corn leaves. So, this saying is basically telling us that if you are destined for something, life will by all means ease your way to your fate. Nuestro segundo refrán, our second saying, has to do with drinking water. Agua que no has de beber, déjala correr. This could be translated as, the water you shouldn't drink, just let it run. ¿Qué consejo nos quieren dar? What's the piece of advice behind it? There are two, actually. Number one, don't get involved in things that don't concern you. And number two, don't do something you might regret. When I was a child, I constantly heard the adults around me saying, salió más caro el caldo que las albóndigas. If translated literally, this saying would be something like, the broth was more expensive than the meatballs. Yet another saying que no tiene mucho sentido. That doesn't make much sense. And yet, it does. Broth is made of water, mientras que las albóndigas, while meatballs are made of meat. Meat is more expensive than water, usually. Si pasara lo contrario, if it were the other way around, chances are things went pretty wrong. So, este refrán nos dice, this saying is telling us that an alleged solution was completely useless and probably created an even bigger problem than there was at the beginning. You could use this saying if, for example, you paid $2,000 for an apparently promising Spanish course and still you're unable to speak fluent Spanish and you ended up feeling even more confused. If you don't want to end up saying, me salió más caro el caldo que las albóndigas in relation to your language learning process, make sure you sign up to our free Spanish training to discover an innovative method that will allow you to speak Spanish fluently without grammar drills or vocabulary lists. All you have to do is click on the link in the description. En general, nadie sabe quién compuso los refranes. No one really knows who is behind sayings. Still, they are handed down generation to generation and tienen varias interpretaciones. They have several meanings and interpretations, especially from one country to another. Nuestro cuarto refrán, our fourth saying, was actually written by a famous author, but he's probably not as known as the character who said, El que a buen árbol se arrima, buena sombra le cobija. This saying is related to trees and it could be translated as, whomever gets close to a strong tree will be covered by a nice shade. Now, you are probably wondering quién lo dijo, who said it. Remember I mentioned El Quijote towards the beginning? Well, this is the saying that appears in that novel. It was uttered by Sancho Panza. El Quijote's companion, and it basically means that it is worth being related to powerful people to get their protection. Más sabe el diablo por viejo que por diablo. Literally, a devil is wise, not because he is a devil, but because he is old. Quizás ya sabes qué quiere decir. You probably guessed its meaning already. This means that wisdom comes with age. I want to end this video by saying, al buen entendedor, pocas palabras. La traducción de este refrán pudiera ser: this saying could be translated as, few things need to be said to those who listen.